A couple of days ago, Tucker Carlson of Fox News released some video of the events related to January 6th, 2021 that took place in Washington, D.C. When he dropped all that video and gave his commentary, it blew up like a bomb, figuratively speaking. All of the classless rulers in Washington went wild. The video showed events inside and outside the Capitol that maybe you've never seen before. Now, as I pause for just a moment, you're probably sitting there thinking to yourself, no, 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 front porch, don't you mean the ruling class? No, 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 no. We here on the front porch refer to the elected officials in Washington, D.C. as the classless rulers. To call them the ruling class gives them way too much credit because people with class don't treat their fellow citizens the way these elected officials treat people in America. Now, as I said, there's been all kinds of reaction to Tucker Carlson's report. So tonight, in our video, I thought we might listen to some of the reaction, ask some questions, make some comments, and then react appropriately. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. My name is Brian Trippett. I am your front porch conservative. Step on up to the electronic front porch and let's talk. Now, as I said, when Tucker dropped this video and gave his commentary, this just absolutely spread all over Washington, D.C. like wildfire. And it did not take long for the classless rulers to come out and give their opinion. And oh, the opinions they gave. It was united. It was nasty. There wasn't any yelling. There wasn't any screaming. But yeah, everybody understood the condescending tone that these losers took when they were simply reacting to what someone had done. We're going to do a little bit of analysis of some of this. I want to play these clips because if it didn't make me so mad, the absence of intelligence would just make me laugh right out of my chair. So anyway, we're going to first listen to Senator Charles Schumer of New York, the Majority Leader of the United States Senate, who we here on the front porch refer to as Chucky Baby. So Chucky Baby gives a speech on the floor of the Senate and absolutely makes some of the most ludicrous comments you will ever hear. Okay, we're going to wind this thing up. Take a listen to some of this, and we'll stop at certain points to either mock him, make a good argument, ask questions, or do whatever we feel is appropriate. So, without further ado, roll 'em, Smokey!
Millions of Americans tuned in to one of the most shameful hours we have ever seen on cable television. With contempt for the facts, disregard of the risks, and knowing full well he was lying to his audience, Fox News host Tucker Carlson ran a lengthy segment last night arguing the January 6th Capitol attack was not a violent insurrection.
Okay, hold on a minute. Hold on a minute. First of all, I want to make a couple of comments. Most horrible hours of television. Well, apparently he's never let people watch, reruns of his old speeches, but yeah, lay that aside. He's lying. He lied. Prove that. All Tucker Carlson did was show videotape that for over 2 years, people in America have not been able to see for themselves because it's been under the lock and control of the Speaker of the House, and that was Nancy Pelosi. How do you know what Tucker Carlson did was tell a lie? That works from the assumption that for the past 2 years we have been given the unvarnished truth. Truth that has been burned in the fire. The dross of lies have been swept away, and we have pure 100% gold truth. Now, this is Washington, D.C. we're talking about. Does anybody really believe that these people are telling the truth? But we'll continue. This is just too good. Just too good. All right, Chucky Baby, give us some more wisdom.
By diving deep into the waters of conspiracy and cherry picking from thousands of hours of security footage.
Whoa, 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 wait a minute. Cherry picking? Let's remember something. This video, all 14,000 hours, which wound up being 44,000 hours, by the way, is under the lock control of the Speaker. Now, to say that Tucker Carlson is cherry picking works from the assumption that what we have seen for the past 2 years on all the alphabet networks: ABC, NBC, CBS, MSNBC, CNN, NPR, PBS, God only knows what other combinations of letters there are out there, that what we've seen for the past 2 years has not been cherry-picked itself. Because there's only one of two possibilities here, given that the video has been under control of the speaker. Either A, the speaker's office and her people put the video together, gave it out to the networks, and they ran with what they had, or B, the speaker's office released everything to the networks, and the networks cherry-picked what they want and ran with it. Now, everybody knows what kind of videos we've seen as it relates to January 6th prior to what Tucker Carlson's done. It's been very negative. It's shown, horrible situations, tear gas, yelling, screaming, breaking windows, people like the QAnon shaman, just whatever. But until Monday night, no one has seen the alternative. So I don't know that this whole argument about cherry picking stands up. But that's just my thoughts on it. We'll let Chucky Baby go on with this beautiful piece of eloquence. You may continue, sir.
Mr. Carlson told the bold-faced lie that the Capitol attack, which we all saw with our own eyes, was somehow not an attack at all. He tried to argue it was nothing more than a peaceful sightseeing tour. Can you imagine?
Oh, I can imagine, which is a whole lot more than you can do, you talentless hack.
A nonviolent demonstration. A perfectly fine and appropriate instance of people expressing their opinion.
Which is what everybody was trying to do, if you'll remember.
So many others who were here in the Capitol, and millions of Americans are just furious with Tucker Carlson and Kevin McCarthy today.
I'm shocked. Shocked, I say.
Many of my staff were here at the Capitol on January 6th. Their lives were put in danger, as were the lives of many of my colleagues, as well as police, maintenance staff, reporters, countless others. At one point, I was within 30 feet of the rioters. One of them, I was told, shouted out, "Let's get him."
That's hearsay.
Before my detail pulled me away, and we ran in the other direction.
Cue the music to Chariots of Fire.
To say January 6th was not violent is a lie pure and simple.
But again, that works from the assumption that for the past 2 years we've been told the truth.
I don't think I've ever seen a primetime cable news anchor manipulate his viewers the way Mr. Carlson did last night.
Dan Rather, 2004, eve of the election. But I digress.
I don't think I've ever seen an anchor treat the American people and American democracy with such disdain.
Oh, that's a long list of people I can name.
And he's going to come back tonight with another segment. Fox News should tell him not to. Fox News, Rupert...
Ladies and gentlemen, did you just hear what he said? Fox News should tell Tucker Carlson, ixnay this story. No more about it. The government of the United States, or a member of the government of the United States, is trying to tell the press what stories they can and cannot run. And this never ends well, or historically it never ends well for the government. But I want you to think about that last statement he made. I'm going to play another video clip where he sort of expands on this comment. This will blow your mind. Old Chucky Baby had more to say about this idea about Fox telling Tucker what to say. Listen to this.
These lies continue tonight. Rupert Murdoch, who has admitted they were lies and said he regretted it, has a special obligation to stop Tucker Carlson from going on tonight now that he's seen how he has perverted and slimed the truth, and from letting him go on again and again and again. Not because their views deserve such opprobrium, but because our democracy depends on it. These lies
You know, I usually say I'm never ceased to be amazed, but I'm never ceased to be amazed. Did you catch two parts of what he just said? That Rupert Murdoch has a special obligation, in other words, a higher duty, to stop Tucker Carlson from going on with this story. And the second part, not that their views deserve a platform, but our democracy depends on what Rupert does. Wait a minute. Excuse me. It's been a little while since I've read a copy of the Bill of Rights, but I'm pretty sure the First Amendment covers Congress shall make no law respecting an abridgment of freedom of speech, or freedom of the press for that matter. He's trying to, a member of the government of the United States is trying to tell a free press what they can and cannot comment on. For those out there in the audience who are a little younger, you might not remember the Pentagon Papers. In the late 1960s and early 1970s, there was an analyst working for the Defense Department named Daniel Ellsberg. He went on to work for a private think tank called RAND. He gave papers to the New York Times, which ultimately wound up also in the hands of the Washington Post, which detailed reports about the Vietnam War. Lyndon Baines Johnson and his Secretary of Defense, John McNamara, were telling everybody, hey, we're winning in Vietnam. We're going to do great. We've just got to change some strategy. Thousands and thousands of American soldiers died, thousands and thousands injured, but yet we're being told, hey, we're going to make it. We're going to do this. We're going to win this war. Ellsberg had the papers to prove that that was all a lie. He gave them to the New York Times. He gave them to the Post. They published some articles. The Nixon administration came in and tried to shut them down. Listen to this. This is a quote from Ben Bradley, who was the then editor of the Post. Yeah, this idea that the government should tell the press what they can and can't say. Listen to this.
Ben Bradley, executive editor of the Washington Post, pushed for publication.
Well, I remember when the outroar began that they said the Republic was endangered if we continued to publish. Well, we did continue to publish for 2 days after this. The Republic still stands, and if you read the judgment of Judge Gerfine in the New York court, he says very clearly that it is maybe an embarrassment to the government, but there is no vital national security issue involved in the document.
An embarrassment to the government, but no vital national security interest. Ladies and gentlemen, a ghost from the past gives a statement about the present. So we know what the Democrats think of all this, which is not much. But what about the Republicans? Surely they're going to stand up and defend Tucker Carlson, right? I mean, after all, they're conservatives up there. They ought to be for free speech and freedom of the press. Don't hold your breath on this one. I'm going to play you a clip from Mitch McConnell. He's been given a lot of different nicknames over the years. Some of them you can actually repeat on the air. I haven't really come up with a good front porch term for him yet, but we'll think of something as time goes by. So anyway, not to be outdone by his counterpart, Chucky Baby, Mitch had his own comments about Tucker's video and commentary, so we're going to play some of that. This is not quite as nauseating as Chucky Baby, but if you really want an idea what the classless rulers think, or if you really want a good example of how they are united in their opinion and disdain, here's a really good example. Take a listen to this.
With the Capitol Police's very serious concerns about the release of this footage, was it a mistake by Speaker McCarthy to give access to such a portion of this security footage?
My concern is how it was depicted, which is a different issue. Clearly, the chief of the Capitol Police, in my view, correctly describes what most of us witnessed firsthand on January 6th.
Well, you may have witnessed, but did you show everybody what was to be witnessed?
So that's my reaction to it. It was a mistake, in my view, for Fox News to depict this in a way that's completely at variance with what our chief law enforcement official here at the Capitol thinks.
Okay, wait a minute. Hold on a minute. I want to deal with two things from that clip. Okay. That it was a mistake for Fox News to publish this as it was put together. Mitch, you don't get to tell any news outlet what they can print or what they should print. Now, you can argue with the facts after they do it. That's fine. That's fair game. But the argument that says it's a mistake for them to run with it is absolutely absurd. If the New York Times and the Washington Post had thought it was a mistake back in the day, we wouldn't have had a full accounting or understanding of what was going on in Vietnam. We wouldn't have a lot of the discoveries about what's gone on in Washington, D.C. over the years, and if it weren't for a press willing to go to publish it, or show it on the air, or print it, or whatever. A mistake? No, the mistake here is how you view the press and what it should and should not do for the classless rulers, of which you are one of them. Okay? I also want to get to the other thing that kind of bugs me about this. Molly Hemingway of The Federalist wrote a fantastic article today related to McConnell's reaction to all this. I really recommend it to you. Go out and look at it. Her headline on that story, if I can find it real fast, is, "Dear Mitch McConnell, you were not elected to do the bidding of Chuck Schumer and CNN." Go read that article. It is absolutely fantastic. But she brings up a perfectly valid point. Why is he using a prop to defend his position? Seriously, Mitch, have you deteriorated so badly over the years intellectually that you can't make arguments just based on oratory alone to win your position? And let's get right down to what he's saying about the chief of the Capitol Police, that this is not a fair depiction of what happened. May I remind everybody of what was said in the video the other night. Tucker Carlson said on the air his staff worked in consultation with the Office of the Capitol Police to show the video that they did. There were very minor things that the Capitol Police wanted to change. If they had such a problem with the way that Tucker Carlson was using this video, then why didn't they voice their opinions then, or at least prior to when the video was going to be shown? Now, in one sense, they can't stop Tucker Carlson from putting out what he's going to put out, and the Capitol Police can't necessarily shape what he's going to put out. They're not in the editing room. But if they had problems with what was going on, or they had questions about it, there should have been a whole lot of brouhaha going on and a whole lot of hell raised, and we all would have known about it, because the classless rulers would have made sure that their police force put out press statements in advance of what Tucker Carlson was doing, saying, we object to all of this. He's going to do nothing but show you a lollipop version of a very nasty event. Yet we didn't hear any of it. So to quote one of my favorite old journalists, the late David Brinkley, what are we to make of all this? Or maybe the better question and more appropriate question is, why do the classless rulers hate Tucker Carlson so much? I've got a theory, which I don't think is too far from the truth. The reason that the classless rulers hate Tucker Carlson so much is one simple thing that by itself wouldn't be so bad if it didn't lead to a whole bunch of other things. And that one thing is, he dared to give you information that they wouldn't. Tucker Carlson dared to let you see video and hear interviews from people who were there that you weren't supposed to see and hear. And what that's led to is you get to think for yourself. For 2+ years, we the American people have been given a narrative that the alphabet networks have been trying to ram down our throats and pound into our heads. But now there's alternative information. You and I have the opportunity to sit back and say, was this really as bad as they say it was? have we really been told the truth? And because of that, the classless rulers know they've lost control of the narrative, and they can't stand that. And not only can they not stand it, it absolutely frightens them, because if they lose control of the narrative, that means you, a citizen of the United States, guaranteed your right to freedom of speech and freedom of the press and the right to redress your government for grievances, can look at your classless rulers and say, I want answers. I want you to explain this. And that terrifies them, because they know they have built a house on sand and it's about to sink from under them. That's my theory on it, but what do you think? As I wrap this up, I ask you to do me some favors, as usual. If you are not a subscriber to this channel, please do so. We're on YouTube, we're on Rumble, we're on Odyssey. Pick your favorite place to go. But in my mind, I'd love to have you subscribe to all three. Number 2, if you have friends of yours that you think would enjoy this commentary, please share this video around. I'll take all the help I can get. And number 3, hit the like button, smash that little thumbs up, and you will help me out a whole lot. I am the Front Porch Conservative, and I'll see you next time.